Wes Goldberg, before we get into very serious stuff or like semi-serious stuff, cold open question for you. Love Island is obviously taken over. I think it's been like the reality show of the summer here in the States. Obviously, a longtime British staple. My question for you is this: what NBA player, and I'll say past or present, would be, because I have a past answer for mine, would be the best on Love Island? Who would you want to see be the new bombshell entering the villa?
This is a great question. You teased it earlier this week. You gave us some time to think about it.
Which is rare, to be clear. Usually I'm just like, hey, Wes, here's an insane question I'm going to ask you.
Every once in a while, you just have a gem that's worth postponing and giving it some real thought. And I think we gave this the few days of thought that it necessarily deserved. I ended up boiling it down to two players.
Oh,
both current, because I'm a fan of recency bias. The first player I thought of was Giannis.
Yo.
First of all, we know how Giannis feels about romantic entanglements.
Yeah.
At least just with his own person.
Mm-hmm.
I think he would do really well in the challenges. Yes. Anything that involves pushing a button or opening up a door or wrestling somebody on a log, like anything like that, I think Giannis would be, the competitive side would come out, but he's just playful enough where it wouldn't be an issue, I think. Yeah. Right? As long as none of the other people played for the Indiana Pacers, I think he would be fine. So that was my first answer. I have a second one, but before I do that, I'll throw it back to you.
So I'll go my current answer first, which is was a teammate of Giannis's, and that's Damian Lillard. What does Dame have going on right now other than going on Love Island?
That's painful.
But like, divorced Dame Lillard. Glorilla was like flirting with him. He wasn't really feeling that. Could he find love in the villa? Could he find love in the villa while he's like rehabbing his Achilles?
Yep.
Could there be a rap performance? Also a pretty competitive guy.
So here's the problem with Dame. Love Dame. There is really no problem with Dame. There's a problem with Dame on Love Island, is that he's too loyal. He would be the guy who was just like, he would couple up right away.
Yeah.
And then we'd end up with like a Huda situation.
Yeah.
And then he would never do anything to backstab the other guys on the island. That would be more of the loyalty at play. He's too much of a bros bro.
Yeah.
Where he would just he would couple up right away and then stay with that person even if he hated them, just because he didn't want to steal one of his bros' girls. Like that would, I feel like there would be no drama with Dame, and that would be a problem on the island.
It wouldn't be good. The other current player that came to mind for me was Kelly Oubre, just because I think everyone seems to like, he is widely regarded as like the most attractive like dude in the NBA. That's like, but like I think married, so this is like part of the problem. Like you got, like, I was trying to like literalize this to where like I don't want to like wish someone like a breakup where they have to go on Love Island. You know what I mean?
No, you gotta pick the single guys. That's why. So my guy was Austin Reeves.
Yeah, honestly, let's go.
Let's go. A dude from Arkansas.
Yeah,
just trying. Like, but it would be great because he would go to the villa and he'd be like, "Oh, so what do you do?" Like, he's like, "I'm a professional basketball player," and they're like, "Oh, like, do you play like in Greece or something?" And he's like, "No, I play in the NBA." What? I play for the Lakers.
Yeah,
with like LeBron's team. Kobe? Yeah, those Lakers. I play with. You don't play for the Lakers. Like, no, I start. I'm a starter for the Lakers. I'm really important to what
I'm good enough where I could turn down like more money on an extension this summer than anyone is going to see in their life.
I make $14 million a year. I don't need this $100,000 prize at the end.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like it would be great just because they wouldn't believe them.
Yeah, that'd be great. I will say the WNBA answer that came to mind for me is Sophie Cunningham, just because she stirs a bunch of shit. Would just immediately be like the cause of talk.
Angel Reese would be great.
Angel Reese. Any of like the young, like very terminally in line, like WNBA young superstars would be great in this context. My retired answer is Lou Williams, because two girls like I'm Lou Will, him running game in the villa. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Why is this dirty? This is good.
This is I don't know that they would be able to broadcast any of it.
38-year-old Lou Will in the villa.
The speakeasy would be a strip club very quickly.
He's just like, "Hey, can I get Magic City wings here?" And they're like, "What?" It's like, what?
They have Uber helicopters that can drop off some Magic City wings.
Jack Harlow shows up and you're like, "Oh, it's the bubble again. We're back in the bubble."
Yep.
It's the same thing, but reverse. All right, on today's show, Cooper Flagg has debuted in Summer League. Devin Booker signed for a lot of money with the Phoenix Suns. We're going to talk about what the heck the Suns are doing, even if obviously do that move. And Draymond Green had some interesting comments on free agency. That's all coming up today on the Just Basketball show. No more Love Island talk for now. Let's go. What is up, everyone? Chris Manning, Wes Goldberg here on the Just Basketball Show, your twice weekly show covering all things hoops. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, rate, review on your podcast platform of choice. And as always, we're powered by our friends at BetMGM.
If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code JustBasketball. You'll get up to $1,500 on a first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android. Sign up using the code JustBasketball. Deposit at least $10, place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if the bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code JustBasketball when you sign up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 or older to wager. Terms and conditions apply.
Let's start with Cooper Flagg. We are recording this just after the first half, so we haven't seen how he does in the second half, but Cooper Flagg played his first half of NBA basketball with the Dallas Mavericks, playing against the Los Angeles Lakers. To me, the biggest thing that stood out was not, he a little jittery early, all of that stuff, played a lot of minutes. Mm-hmm. I think it's very clear that his frame is going to immediately be a huge advantage for him in the NBA. That is like the number one thing. It's like we can project that. We can see it in college, playing with and against, guys that are prospects. But against, even in Summer League, where it's like obviously a step below what you're getting in the NBA in the regular season, he looks physically like more than capable to go right now. And for a guy that is, again, he reclassified all that stuff. That is hugely impressive. And I think physically, as much as any rookie can be, I think he's going to be fitting in right away, which gives him a huge, I think, ability just to go in and make an impact right away.
It's a great take. And I'm glad we're starting here. He's 18 years old. He was the youngest guy in the draft. And you're exactly right. There is a polish to his game that transcends Summer League. There's all these things. He's just a cerebral player, a high IQ player, and all these things that are always talked about with him. He's also a sick athlete.
Yeah.
There was a play in the first half where he anchored what looked like a zone defense, or maybe he was the low man on something. He was just right. He was correctly positioned defensively. It helps force a deflection. He picks up the loose ball and then just drives down the court, passes two Lakers, and finishes with a dunk. And you're just like, oh, okay, he could do that too. And if you watched him at Duke, obviously you knew this. Like, it stood out at Duke, even in some games that, frankly, were better than G League competition. So the fact that he's 18 years old and the frame and the body look NBA ready already is just a tremendous advantage that people his age don't usually have entering the NBA. They might have the athleticism, they might have the sick handle, they might even have the feel and the basketball IQ stuff. But what makes Cooper Flagg the best American prospect since Zion Williamson, basically, is that he's got all of that and the size, and it's all just going to continue to get better.
The attempted dunk that he had, too, that came from a really weird angle, was just he just exploded in traffic to go for that. You can't ask for very much more from a guy in his debut. You can't. That is what I want to see at Summer League. I don't necessarily look, I am not obviously a scout or a former player who's going to look at his hand placement. And Tim Legler was talking about how his wrist was a certain angle on his shot and whatnot. It's he's going to have to work on that. Okay. That is all really good information. For me, I look at how you're doing physically. How do you process stuff? How are you matching him physically and moving on a court? He moves like he's going to be fine playing against real NBA players in a couple. It's not guys that are going to be in G League rosters or the 15th guy to bench. He looks like when the Mavericks play the actual Lakers and he gets switched on to LeBron or is defending Austin Reeves, he's going to be fine. Or defending Rui Hachimura, he's not going to be overpowered by that early. That is even if he, and look, he's landed in a really good spot. He's got AD, he's got Jason Kidd. They'll have Kyrie back. It's a really good spot for him to kind of grow. But he's, I think, going to just be fine with this. It's obviously there's going to be times where he isn't. because that's just the case for every rookie. But it's like that looks like a body of a 23-year-old. Not like the Tatum comparison for him is the big one. I went and looked up photos of Tatum when he came out. He looks like much more like physically ready than Tatum did when Tatum came out of Duke. And Tatum was a really good rookie, but Cooper looks like a whole different class of frame here.
Yeah. I would just like to point out that the first thing I usually pay attention to with these rookies is their wrist angle. So
okay,
me and Legler are on the same page there.
Yeah, you know ball. I don't know ball.
So all these things that you're saying are true. The other thing that really stands out to me with him, and first of all, just a shout out to the NBA. Usually the first marquee summer league game is the first overall pick against the second overall pick, and they were like, no. It's gonna be Cooper Flagg versus Bronny freaking James.
Well, and
that's how we're gonna do it.
And the Lakers are a big part of this, because if people haven't been to summer league or aren't like aware of like what the vibe is, if you're curious,
it's a Lakers game.
It's a Lakers game. Like the year that I went, I bought a hat, and it's like you can get an NBA summer league hat. I'm like, that's an obvious buy for me. The only colors you can buy, it's a purple and gold logo of the Euros there, because most of the fans there are Laker fans, and it also looks cool. But it's like that is a Lakers primary crowd because it is the closest NBA city to Las Vegas. People drive there. It's not like you're going to get as many people coming in from Dallas to see Cooper, or like the year I was there wasn't a ton of Cavs fans there to see Evan Mobley. I doubt there were a ton of Cavs fans. Well, I doubt there weren't a ton of Cavs fans there in 2003 to see LeBron. You know, it's kind of like you got to decide on a whim to go to Vegas. That's not exactly cheap. LA, it's a little bit easier to get there.
Yeah, it's a drive, right? But what I love about Cooper Flagg in this game is that, you know, he's like, okay, this is what you want. This is the show. This is the marquee matchup. It's me versus Bronny. All right, cool. Bet. I'm in. And time after time, he took it to Bronny. And shout out to Bronny. He did it. He did the same thing. He was like, yo, this is what the people want. This is what Bronny hit a step back jumper over Cooper Flagg in the first few minutes of this game. I thought that was really cool. But Cooper Flagg was like, all right, like this is what we're going to do. And then there was a series where Flagg is trying to back down Bronny, and they're going at it like on the low block, and Bronny's swiping at the ball, and Flagg is just kind of throwing the shoulder back and all this stuff. And it ends up getting called a foul. They inbound the ball, and then Flagg and Bronny are matched up again, and Flagg just hits a jumper over Bronny. And it was like a moment. It was cool. And it was like, all right, like I'm here for this. This is entertainment. This is LeBron James's kid versus the best American prospect since Zion Williamson. We all hope that it ends up being better than Zion, at least for the first few years of Zion Williamson's career in terms of health and just being available. And if that's the case, he could end up being the best American prospect to pan out since LeBron, since Bronny's dad. So it was a pretty, there was some really cool moments, but more than just the moments, it is just the way that he plays. You just watch him, and I hate saying this because it's sort of I don't mean it as an indictment in any other kind of style of play, but people always say with Cooper Flagg that he plays the right way. I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way to play basketball, but I do know I like the way that Cooper Flagg plays basketball. He gets a lot of touches, but he doesn't necessarily always need to control things, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like a good possession for Cooper Flagg's team involves him touching the ball at least once. And he's really good at knowing if he's just going to be a cog in the offense or if he's going to take over. And, you know, he's not afraid of the hockey assist. He's okay just making the pass that leads to the score, that leads to the pass that leads to the score. There was a number of pick and roll reads earlier in the game, and Jason Kidd said this basically in the press conference where they introduced Cooper Flagg, that they're basically going to play him as point Flagg in Summer League. And that was a lot of what they did, although the other Nemhard kid also had a pretty good game and was on the ball quite a bit. But I'm going long here. But the idea is that Cooper Flagg was very much in control of the game without taking like a bunch of shots. And there's a pace to his game, and there's a control to his game that belies his age, right? Just like his frame and all the things that you were talking about. I mean, he is so mature in so many different ways beyond his years.
The beard is a little bit of a young guy's. Like, I'm trying to grow a beard though.
That's one. There is a peach fuzz factor here. Yeah.
Well, it's also just like it's like the chin. It's like the chin and the mustache look. It's like
it's probably because the cheeks come in patchy.
Yeah.
but he wants to be able to buy beer at a gas station.
Gonna be honest, he's Cooper Flagg. I'm not condoning underage drinking necessarily, but if Cooper Flagg like wanted beer or like vodka or something, I think he could probably figure out how to do that. He's Cooper Flagg.
I also think when you're 6'10", you generally just get beer. Like you don't need to prove that you're old enough with a goatee.
Yeah.
Like that guy's 6'10". He's probably old enough to drink this beer.
Yeah. It's a good argument.
Yeah.
Bronny looked okay too, by the way. Just want to note that.
Bronny did look okay.
I don't want to have a Bronny discussion because I don't know if there's a need to, but the one thing I will say that I always did kind of feel with the discourse around him, which obviously got like crazy last year, was that like this guy had they brought this up. He had a cardiac arrest.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe giving him a year to like play in the G League and like get his body right was going to mean he was going to show up looking like a winner. And he did the very basic thing in that first half, which is like show up and look like you physically belong or better than a lot of the guys on the court. And like that's kind of all you want out of guys that are a lottery ticket into the end of the rotation pick. So I can live with that Bronny performance if I'm Bronny.
Ryan Nembhard.
Yeah.
Is Andrew Nembhard's younger brother.
He looked good
that
too.
Was playing the game. He did look good, and Tim Legler said he looks a little bit like Scottie Pippen Jr., and I really like that comp. I thought that was a good one. Yeah, I think Dalton Connect also looked pretty good. You know, the 3-pointer, I wish it was more consistent, and even when it goes in, I don't love it all the time with him. I'm like, are we sure he's an awesome 3-point shooter? But you know, I give credit where it's due. He's been productive in this game, but with Flagg, you know, there's a hit-ahead pass that he had. He just sees the floor so well. And it's just like, you could just, like, this guy is going to walk into the NBA, and he's not going to have to. What's great about him is he's not going to have to score a ton of points as a rookie to make an impact on the game, which is good because he's going to be playing a lot with guys like Anthony Davis and even a guy like PJ Washington and just like seasoned guys who are going to need shots. D'Angelo Russell, eventually Kyrie Irving, obviously, Klay Thompson, like, there's going to be a lot of guys who need shots and deserve shots, frankly. And the fact that he doesn't need to take shots to impact the game, I think is really big. Now, I don't know what that means for his Rookie of the Year odds, but if Dallas is in the playoffs and Cooper Flagg is starting, which he will be, and he's the number 1 pick, we might just be like, yeah, give it to Cooper Flagg. He's awesome. And I'm not even saying that he wouldn't deserve it. It's just that usually, you know, voters like points, and he might not have a ton of points.
Bet she's the heavy betting favorite would be my guess. Okay, let's go to Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns. So Devin Booker this week signed what is the biggest annual value contract in the history of the NBA. 2-year, $145 million max extension with the Phoenix Suns. Booker will be 29 before next season. He is now tied to the Phoenix Suns, barring a trade, through the 2029-2030 season. So he is, for his prime now, signed to the Suns for a lot of money. This is, again, also the franchise that, out a bunch of its own picks, it hasn't happened yet, but it seems like we are headed towards some kind of Bradley Beal exit, be it a wave and stretch, a buyout, something. Like we are going towards, they're going to have dead money in some way on the books for Bradley Beal. So, Wes, I ask you this. 28-year-old Devin Booker, about to be 29, signs this extension. Your initial thought on this is what? And what do you think it means for the Suns?
So my initial thought was good for the Suns. And frankly, good for Devin Booker. He's talked about wanting to be a one franchise guy for his entire career. And, you know, it's one thing to talk about it. It's another thing to act on it. And every time Devin Booker has basically ever had an opportunity to sign an extension to remain with the Suns, he's done it, right? And he's obviously increased his earning power and increased his annual salary every single year. So more power to him. But, you know, then you look at the numbers and it's in the annual average value ballpark of the extension that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just signed. You know, when Devin Booker, I mean, he's going to be making $69-70 million on this extension. And that's essentially what SGA just signed. Now, I love Devin Booker. I still think he's one of the best 15 guys in the league. And I think in a good year, he's one of the best 10 guys in the league, potentially. And I still think that outcome is out there for him. It's in a better situation. He's not Shai, right?
Right.
Like $70 million a year That's franchise player money, and Devin Booker is the franchise player, and that's what a Suns fan will tell you. But it's one thing to be paying SGA $70 million a year as arguably the best player in the league, and then Devin Booker, who's missed the All-NBA team 2 years in a row. So, great player, love Devin Booker. That's a rich contract, and the thing that's weird about it is the Suns didn't have to do this. He still had years left on his deal. They could have waited until next summer to do all of this. They didn't have to do this. But they've clearly determined that this is the direction they want to go in. Devin Booker is the franchise guy. We're going to surround him with some youth, and we're going to reload after the Kevin Durant trade. Bradley Beal is going to be gone, and it's going to be Devin Booker's team, and we need him there. And I get that. I get that side of the argument too. I can't criticize it too much, because at the end of the day, you went from what you thought was 3 superstars in Booker, Durant, and Beal to now you're going to be down to 1, and just making sure that you have him there is the most important thing, and that's ultimately what they did here. But it is a lot of money that makes me a little queasy.
Yeah, look, any of these big contracts now make me queasy. I just look at the numbers, and for like a lot of reasons, not just cap sheet wise, like they make me feel like a little just hesitant. This feels very Ishbia to me, just in the sense that like you have to have the star. Like he's said multiple times, like you need to get superstars to win championships. He said that with the Durant trade. He said it to Tim McMahon. I think when McMahon asked him at some point about trading Booker ever, and he kind of shut that down immediately. I think where I have dissonance with this, if I am like I'm of two minds of this, Wes, because on one hand, I agree with you. It's like getting Booker, keeping Booker is the best thing you can do for the franchise. Like that is a guy you can sell tickets around. That is a guy that is one of the best players in the world. I think can be the best player on a championship team. I do believe that he can be like a guy, if you built the right team, you could have him be the best guy in a championship team. I think he's that good. Really efficient, really can be a solid defender, good playmaker, has grown, I think, a lot, and really blossomed like the best case, highest end version of himself based on where we saw him coming out of college. I think the problem, as good as I feel about like the emotional side of it, the practical side of it, I think gets really hard, because I don't like if you're waving and stretching Beal in particular, and you don't have your picks, where are you getting a number 2 guy that can actually elevate you in a really tough conference and help you compete with the Thunder, help you compete with the Rockets, help you compete with the Wolves, help you compete with Luka's Lakers, like compete
is that
with
Jalen Green's music?
It's whoever you're telling yourself. It's whatever Jalen Green in like some seconds of getting you in a couple months would be my guess.
It's can we turn Jalen Green into a real player or an asset that can go get us that guy?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And look, they got 11 centers on the roster. They've got some interesting players like Ryan Dunn and Dylan Brooks on the perimeter. Like they could potentially package some stuff together, but to your point, they don't have the picks.
No, don't have the picks, which is a big thing. And like even just next year, and I understand, like I think they have to kind of look at this as like they're kind of Milwaukee. They're like Milwaukee West in a lot of ways.
Yep.
The only team in the West right now that last time I looked has lower like a lower win total for over under as of right now is the Utah Jazz.
Wow.
That's
crazy.
That isn't
Portland is over them?
Portland is over them.
Wow.
And look, I don't know if I agree with that. I don't like maybe they hit the over. And
no,
like,
I mean, it makes sense if you look.
But if you just think, if you think about it, and then you think about like where you're gonna be, especially if you wave and stretch Beal and are eating his money up over a couple of years, it's like your flexibility is hampered in this like hard cappy sort of era.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what the path is here to like win a championship with Devin Booker before 2030. Like that's the part that I think, like, yes, the NBA can change a lot, and I think you just get the guy and you figure it out. Like that's usually like the best case in the NBA. I just don't know like where the roster building's coming from.
I'm not disagreeing with anything that you're saying, but if I were going to push back on it, I guess what I would say is, well, we were kind of in this situation anyway. So let's lock up Devin Booker. And if we have to trade him to reset the whole thing, we're going to always have to trade him. And this way, at least he's on an extension. So we at least have more leverage in these trade conversations. Right now, we're not dealing with the potential of in a year he asks out on an expiring contract, whatever it is. And like he can kind of, no, let's get him to the extension. Let's get him to the number that he wants to be at. And look, there are going to be some teams that say, well, we don't want that number. We don't want Devin Booker at $69 million. But the thing you just said, if Devin Booker can be the best player on a championship winning team, then he is worth $69 million.
Yeah.
Period. Like that's what that costs in as the salary cap goes up. That's what that's going to cost. It's what Jason Tatum is going to cost. It's what Shea's going to cost. It's what Jokic is going to cost when he eventually signs his extension. Like, maybe it's not right to look at, hey, it might not be fair to compare players like Booker to the legit best players in the NBA because of the salary cap. It caps what those guys can make, right? Like Shea and Jokic, you could argue, are worth $100 million a year, but they're just not allowed to make that. So maybe there is some sort of, in between here, but if Booker can be the best player on a championship winning team, then he's worth the money. Point blank, period. You pay it. And then if for whatever reason you decide to completely rebuild and Matt Ishbia backs off on that, we always have to have a star, and they get to the point of we got to reset the whole thing, then you can always trade Devin Booker at that point.
Which I don't think I was reading a couple columns about this deal since it came through, and like I saw some people say it's like, is this another untradeable contract? I think if Booker's healthy, it won't be.
I don't think so. Yeah, I would never say that this is untradeable. No.
Like, okay, if he tears his Achilles tomorrow, then it's like, okay, are you getting the full return? And maybe you could say like $70+ million for any player in this environment makes him harder to trade in a vacuum. Like maybe you get like one less future first round pick. But let's say in 2 years this hasn't gone anywhere and he's unhappy. And he's like, okay, I'm past 30 now. I'm in my prime. I want to go compete for a championship. Like I don't see it happening here. I'd like to play for the Miami Heat. The Heat might just be like, okay, let's get Devin Booker in his prime, match all the salary we can, and we have Bam and Devin Booker and guys, and we're gonna go for a title that way. Like I think all of that, like that's all real. It's good for you. That is like what will happen if this doesn't work. But I think it would take Booker like acquiescing to like this isn't going to work here, and obviously you're not going to turn in the money. But it's like I think at some point, like I wonder where the road where like he gets to that point, and it's like similar how I feel about the Giannis thing. It's where what is the point where like your like desire for loyalty in one franchise guy like hits this too hard. Where he can compete for a title. Like it didn't hit Dame until like arguably a little bit too late. If he was being uber selfish,
it hit Dame when the roster looked very similar to what Devin Booker's roster looks like.
It's a great point.
Damian Lillard just looked around the locker room at some point and was just like, "Everybody is 10 years younger than me. What the hell is going on?" And it's not that extreme because again, Booker's not even 30 yet, but he is looking around being like, "We were in the finals a few years ago with." And I was teammates with Chris Paul and Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. And now I'm looking around and it's Jalen Green.
Aiton.
And yeah, I left him out on purpose. But
I mean, look, but this to that point, this is the roster from that final Suns that Booker, Paul, who was still fucking awesome at that point.
He was very good that year. Yep.
Aiton, Bridges, Crowder, Cam Johnson, Torrey Craig, Jalen Smith, Shamet, Payne, Saric, Kaminsky, Nader, and each one more. That wasn't like the deepest roster, obviously, but that's like a 7-8 that I feel pretty good about.
And you can look around that locker room and say, okay, I got Chris Paul there, I got Mikal Bridges there, I got Jay Crowder there, I got Cam Johnson there. Like these are adult, fully formed basketball players. And even Bridges and Cam Johnson were younger at that stage, but we knew what they were.
That was like that was a really good version of Torrey Craig. That was like a really solid role player version of Torrey Craig here.
Yeah. And now he looks around that locker room and he's like, I don't know what any of y'all are. He's like, all right, I got Dillon Brooks.
He knows everyone knows what Dillon Brooks is. Dillon Brooks is going to be really good.
And he's going to get sick of Dillon Brooks because everybody eventually gets sick of Dillon Brooks. I like Dillon Brooks, but people get sick, but I don't have to share a locker room with him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. If he hasn't done it yet, it feels like he's not ever going to do it. But then again, it might just take a year of being in this situation because, again, the last couple of years, he was at least playing with Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant. So let's see what happens. He goes through a full year of whatever this is. And if he decides that he wants out, I think he can be tradable. If people are saying that it's an untradeable contract or wondering, I understand it because the dollar figure is so big. And it's Devin Booker, who is something I think this is obviously not true. but I think qualitatively he feels like something less than a supermax player. Like he's just a hair below that, although he is obviously a supermax player, literally a supermax player. But um, I don't think it's untradeable, but it could be hard to trade, right?
Yeah.
I think there's room for gray area here, just because the dollar figure is big. I think there's a ton of teams that would love to have Devin Booker on their roster. The question is, can we get to that point where we can match salary without him coming to a team that is as bare bones as his current situation?
Let's just use the Heat as an example, right?
Okay.
I mean, that's just like the obvious one to me of like if he's gonna go somewhere else, it just feels like that's.
I'm
like
glad you're saying it. I don't have to say it.
We are past due. The Heat like having gone and gotten like the big star. Just like it's been too long.
Tell me about it.
It's been too long for you and your Locked On Heat views and your downloads, but also for Pat Riley. Like Pat, I want to hear like I want a story about how you threw the rings on the table. Like we're due. Mm-hmm. If they were to like if and the salaries will change, the cap sheet will change. But if you look at like what they have like on the roster right now, it's like Bam's at 37, Hero's at 31. I know he's extension eligible. It's like those two guys get you like close, but it doesn't even get you above 70. And even if those salaries increase slightly, it's like
he's still the thing about Devin Booker on this extension is it doesn't even hit that 70 mark for a couple more years. It's he's at 53 now going into this upcoming season, and he's at 57 in the 2026-2027 season. He's at 61 million in 2027. And then 64 million, and then it jumps up to 64 in 2028, and then 69 in 2029. So for these next few years, it is actually fine. I shouldn't say fine. Like that 50+ million mark is still hard to do. But in Miami's case, for instance, like let's say Devin Booker plays a full season in Phoenix, and next summer he's like, you know what, I can't do it anymore. They could trade Tyler Hero and then have Andrew Wiggins opt into his contract and move both of those guys, and then Phoenix can extend Wiggins off of his option if they want to, and then they could do it that way.
But it's like it's a challenging thing if the goal of Devin Booker, like I guess my point here is if he moves, let's say he wants to go somewhere and play with other elite talent. The number he's making is really hard to like stack up guys that aren't the elite talent he wants to play with in another situation. It is just like harder to like do it. I'm not saying like Hero and Wiggins are necessarily like you get Devin Booker, you don't really need Tyler Hero, respectfully, and like Wiggins. Okay, like, I don't know if I want to pay him his next contract. At least at like depending on at 30, I don't know if it'll be worth that then. But it's like the high end talent wherever this theoretical team is, it's like you can't be in a situation. Like if you're Devin Booker, why leave if you're just like shuffling depth here? Even if it's like marginally better, what's the point of like making a fuss and leaving if the talent isn't like a real upgrade at the top? That's I think the other issue, because it's just stacking up that money. Even at 60, it's just hard to not trade someone who's like actually pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, right now it would just be the case of if I can go to a team that has another star or another all-star caliber player, because he doesn't have one right now.
No.
So it's like, can I just go to a team that has another all-star caliber player with a front office who I actually trust to get something done over the next couple of years? Because clearly this Phoenix one isn't. But that would be a dramatic 180 from where he is now.
Yes.
Because right now he is a partner of the Phoenix Suns. He is committed to the Phoenix Suns. Like there is zero hints that Devin Booker has any concerns right now with being a Phoenix Sun.
It's the opposite. They had him involved in the coaching search, and it seems like he had a big say in Jordan Ott being the head coach hire for them, which I think that also puts up a lot of pressure on Jordan Ott to be like the right coach. Like if that doesn't work, it's like stop. That's the first time I coach.
I have liked Phoenix's offseason. I think this is the way to do it, right? Like they tried doing the let's go all in off of the finals run and just reshape the roster with a bunch of superstar thing. I like all the moves that they've made. Now, they have a lot of work to do to recoup some assets and try to get some draft picks and figure things out, and the Jalen Green thing remains a question. I would love if they were able to bring back Chris Paul. I think that would make a ton of sense for that roster, more so than I think with the Clippers. To me, the Phoenix Suns are the best Chris Paul landing spot, certainly my favorite. If they can get a real point guard in there like that, I think that would make a lot of sense, and I think they did well on the Kevin Durant trade. So, with all things considered, considering that they had almost zero leverage in that in those negotiations. So I think it's been a fine offseason for them. We'll see where they go.
Yeah, I agree with you on all that. I think I wonder what this looks in 18 months to me just feels still just like
Yeah.
such a mystery. I just don't know.
One of
And
these young guys like just has to pop for them.
in a
Whether
big
it's
way.
Ryan Dunn or Malawach or Colin Gillespie, I don't know. It has to be somebody.
Honestly, Wes, the best younger guy to pop for them would be Jalen Green because then they could trade him for something that fits better with Devin Booker.
So, what would be the prototype player that you would want next to Devin Booker? Would it be a more of a table setting point guard so that Booker can just focus on getting buckets? Would it be somebody on the wing that could just provide that size and maybe some defense? Would it be a center that he could just have a two-man game with? Like, what is it that you would be looking for as a top priority?
I think it's a wing or a point guard. I think the challenge with the point guard thing is that kind of player doesn't exactly like exist at the highest level anymore. Like that kind of guy is, I think, a little bit
Right.
harder to find right now.
Yeah.
It's like you had it with Chris Paul, and you have Fred VanVleet out there, and it's like Tyus Jones has like a pretty stable job as a good backup point guard because that's kind of what he does. But like there's not like a ton of and Mike Conley's now pretty damn old.
Mm-hmm.
There's not like that many point guards. Like Darius Garland's kind of like one of the only younger ones that sort of can play that way, right? Like it's a lot of the guys are kind of like maxis where they can score and want to kind of lead your offense in some way. Those kind of guys are a little bit trickier to find. Like a Siakam type, I think could be really fun. Like that kind of like bigger forward who can run a little bit, give you different speed, can play two-man game with you, can also like just carry the offense while Booker sits. Like it's that. I think it's like that kind of forward is what I'd be looking at, or like
a Bam type.
Yeah, like a like a Bam type. Yeah, like a Bam type would be really good. Like if you told me you built like kind of like a Rocketsy team around him where it's like the rest of the team is like uber monster defensively and he's like your offensive engine with one other guy. I also think that could really work. And you surround him with like Mikal Bridges types.
Yeah.
Like that, if he was like in the Jalen Brunson role in New York, I think that would make a lot of sense.
Yep. I think that's totally fair. I think I think that makes a lot of sense. My favorite sort of fake trade, not my favorite, one of my favorite fake trade ideas is just like Jalen Green for Domantas Sabonis.
I would do that tomorrow if on both teams.
Right?
The challenge for the Phoenix not for Phoenix is like, hell yeah, we'll do that. The challenge for Sacramento, having DeMar DeRozan, Jalen Green, and Zach LaVine all on your roster is hilarious.
Yeah, it would be after Sacramento figures out a way to dump LaVine and DeRozan.
Or it's just like a really good tank job to like get Debanta or one of these other guys for next year.
Yep. Could be that too.
But like Sabonis with Booker as like a secondary creator, the handoff game between them would be fucking nasty in the half court.
Yep. And then you would at that point, like there's defensive issues there, but you could play Sabonis with Malawach and like why not just do it? Who cares? Like whatever.
Yeah.
I love your two centers and then 3 floor spacers plus Devin Booker.
I really, really love that trade. I think that's a great trade.
Thank you.
I'm trying to think if there's like another one out there.
It would have to be a team that wants Jalen Green, and that team would have to be in on dealing with the growing pains.
Yeah.
For a couple of years.
Yeah. I wonder if Memphis ever blew it up, Jaren Jackson would be a really good fit with Booker. Like that kind of big, that kind of Bam, like he's different than Bam, obviously, but that would be a good one. Scott, it might not be a bad landing spot if Toronto goes south and like I don't know what the trade would be necessarily, and you'd have to give up stuff that you don't have, but like I think like the best thing for Scotty Barnes might be to end up like as a secondary to a guy like Booker. Kind of like simplify what he's been having to do on ball a bunch in Toronto.
Yeah,
he could kind of become like a new age Siakam kind of thing. I don't hate that.
Jalen Green for Kyle Kuzma or no?
I would rather.
That was a joke.
That's just such a like a tough choice for me because those are like two of my least favorite players to watch in the league.
Yep.
Two guys must sound. All right, Phoenix Suns, interesting spot. Last thing we got to talk about today is Draymond Green. Wes, why don't you can you give us like the summary here of what Draymond Green said if people missed it?
Sure. So Draymond was apparently talking to his wife in his man cave and posted on social media a diary entry. And I say diary entry because he literally starts this entry with "Dear Diary." I'm sitting in my man cave having a conversation with my wife, baffled at the fact that NBA free agency is over. Quite frankly, it never really started. And then he goes on to talk about how the anticipation for free agency was one thing, and then what we ended up with was another thing. The big, and kind of saying a lot of things that you've heard a lot of NBA fans say is free agency is dead. And he points to the new CBA in the second apron world and all of these things that we live in now as the culprit, as the reason why free agency no longer is this big event that it used to be for the NBA. And it feels like a dud. It feels like something where Nickeil Alexander-Walker is the best player to sign somewhere, and he's a backup. So, yeah, that's what Draymond was talking about. I thought it was an interesting conversation. I thought it was interesting to get his perspective on it as a player in the league, obviously, who pays attention to these things. But I do think that there's a bigger conversation here about is free agency just sort of dead? And if it is, why?
I think we have learned, Wes, that this like new CBA is not particularly player friendly, and I think Draymond's right. Like I think free agency feels like it feels like a little bit kind of dead. Like we have a hard cap. I think the really rich players in the league are going to continue to get all their money, and then it's like everyone else that's going to get squeezed.
See,
like
I don't know. I feel like this was the reason people are upset with free agency is that the big players weren't the ones getting signed. It was the Nickeil Alexander-Walkers and the Brook Lopez's. It was sort of the middle class NBA player going out and getting his money. We had a lot of mid-level exception area type of deals done, and a lot of them were done in sign-in trades and whatever. But like at the end of the day, these guys were signed as free agents somewhere. And Bobby Marks retweeted Draymond and responded to him, and he says that the reason free agency has shrunk is because nearly 50 potential free agents this summer decided that guaranteed money was too valuable and signed extensions. The change in extension rules in the CBA allow players more earning power.
We got another one.
Agree.
Herb Jones signed it. Herb Jones signed an extension today, and
Herb
it's
Jones
like
signed one. Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, like all these players. There is no free agency is dead because, and we spend most of the summer talking about extensions because that's really the pre-free agency part of it. Is if they don't sign the extension, then what? Like that's kind of the conversation we have. And even then, the first thing we go to is, are they going to get traded? Because
which is, I mean, considering all the picks that are moving in drafts now, it's like you need like a really detailed flow chart for you to make sure you understand who's picking in the draft at this point because of how often these picks are being flipped.
Yeah. Cooper Flagg just blocked a shot at the rim in the final minute of this 1-point summer league game.
The next decade,
and it just led to a Dallas 3-pointer. He's awesome, dude.
The next decade, like once these guys are sort of all in their primes of like the various very good generational defensive players that are like fifth year and younger now, so like Wemby, Cooper Flagg, Mobley, Chet, going to be disgusting races for defensive player of the year.
Yep.
And Bam will be 37. And I'm going to be like, Bam Adebayo should have won defense player one time.
He should have. Marcus Smart did not deserve it that year.
There's the Boston shade on the bingo card. We got it.
Yep. Boston Media Mafia got him elected, even though they were pushing for Robert Williams the entire season. Then he got hurt, and they were like, "Oh, hey, Marcus, what are you talking about? We've been pushing for Marcus Smart this whole time." It's like, no, you haven't. Okay. What were we talking about? The free agency. Yeah. I respect where Draymond's coming from. I think he's wrong. But I don't even think that's the interesting part about it. I don't think the CBA or anything is what's interesting about it.
Okay.
Players are getting their money. Draymond hit free agency a couple years ago and famously almost ended up going to Memphis, and that was real. That was a real thing. And then Golden State ponied up and paid him. But yeah, man, like Steph is signing these extensions, dude. Jimmy Butler got traded because Miami wouldn't give him the extension. Like these players the star players are getting their money. If anything, the new CBA empowers them to make more money because if they're on the same team or whatever with the bird rights and just the percentages that the extensions can go up on, like it makes more sense to never be a free agent in a lot of ways. if you're a star player. But the idea of the NBA needing a buzzy free agency, to me, is the more interesting topic here. Because that's a bug, not a feature to me. I think NFL free agency is a big deal-ish. But like the NFL is the king, right? Obviously. Free agency never feels big the way that it feels big in the NBA. They don't market it as
none of the really good, like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes is never going to be a free agent. And
exactly.
when one of the really great players like is a free agent, it's because like they're older or like they got hurt. Like Nick Chubb was a free agent this year in a world where Nick Chubb doesn't have his leg shattered in a game and like comes back and doesn't look quite right. He probably doesn't ever hit free agency. He's just a Cleveland Brown for life. Myles Garrett is never a free agent.
Yeah, and part of it in the NFL is that you have the franchise tag and all that kind of stuff, which complicates a lot of these things.
Which I'm glad the NBA doesn't have, because it would be a disaster.
It's crazy. Biggest failure by the NFL Players Union was allowing that to ever happen. But if we want to consider Lamar Jackson a couple of years ago as a free agent storyline, which I think that counts because they were kind of going back and forth with whether or not they're going to use the franchise tag on him, and that had like the biggest stories in the NFL always have like tinges of racism. And that was the reason why that was sort of the biggest story, that it was as big of a story as it was. But look, the NBA free agency now feels a lot more like the NFL free agency, where you get utility guys, bit contributors, rotation type guys. Those are the guys that are moving teams. And I actually like that way more. It's like, you know what? The Atlanta Hawks established a new identity this past season. They made some really nice roster moves, and they said, you know what, these are the kinds of players that we want. Let's go grab another one. And they went and got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Like, teams that are just like filling little needs, I like that in free agency a little bit more. It's a little bit more utilitarian. It's a little bit more strategic, and it doesn't and we actually, in a weird way, get to talk about the basketball part of it more, other than just like the LeBron decision of it all, or Kevin Durant taking meetings
or
in the Hamptons,
what was the cupcake year? Was that Russ?
Yeah. And it's like these weird off the court things that have nothing to do with anything other than just the sheer star power and celebrity forces of these guys. It actually has nothing to do with basketball. It's People Magazine. It's voyeurism. That's what it is. And so I like the idea that free agency now are just role players making moves and trying to better themselves and put themselves in better positions. I like having a conversation about what Duncan Robinson can do in Detroit. That to me is interesting. What's funny now is that the trade deadline has become it has replaced NBA free agency. The big movement period for the NBA now, instead of it being the end of June and early July, is now end of January to the middle of February. Because the trade deadline is when all these guys now move, in terms of the superstars.
Yes. I think what I think is interesting is, and I think there's some truth to it, is that like you are going to maybe see, I think of like Ty Jerome as the best example of this, of a guy who got like squeezed a little bit, lost out. I do think you'll see some of that in a way that is impactful on like a certain class of guys, and it's like depending on how you can generate leverage. I think that is like a question I still don't exactly know where we're going with some of that. Is like how leverage gets created, how some of that all gets sorted out for guys that need it. Like Draymond was able to get the money from Golden State because he was able to go like pretty clearly create leverage and chase a big offer. You need that leverage to negotiate. I think free agency is like, that's probably the most useful tool for agency. I think the free agency that I think feels even like more dead is restricted free agency. It's like if I'm I don't even like Kuminga is stuck in limbo.
Yeah, I think that's a one-off thing. I'm not ready to call that a trend yet.
I think restricted free agency's been dead for like I don't mean to like copy like a Bill Simmons talking point, but like free agency was dead when like the Spurs didn't like nuke a crazy offer sheet for Austin Reeves a couple years ago.
Yeah, he was so on. If they didn't want him, why would they do that?
Because I just think he like me, or me like him, more accurately. It's like we lived in a time and covered the league at a time where the Nets were like, "Hey, Tyler Johnson, would you like $20 million?"
Look how that worked out.
Yeah, but it's just like we used to live in a world where restricted free agency was like a thing that like
that was
guys took visit.
those were years where a ton of teams had a ton of cap space because of cap spikes and stuff like that.
I just miss
This was an odd year.
I miss dumb stuff like that. I bring it back.
When was the last time we had a big restricted free agent move? Did we have one last offseason?
I honestly couldn't. I don't think so.
I don't know. That's going to be a different lookup for me, but I think that's more of a symptom of just a bunch of teams. Like only Brooklyn had cap space this year, and they didn't know what to do with it, as we talked about earlier this week. But next summer there'll be a bunch of teams with cap space, and I think restricted free agency will be back in some sort of way next summer,
depending who the class is, I guess. I just think the more I think about it, Wes, I don't know if I fully agree with Draymond. I don't know if I think this is like a good CBA. I just ultimately don't know if like the quasi hard cap environment ends up being like a good thing for the players.
I don't think it matters for the players. I think that they still get 50% of the revenue, and the money is just going up so much that it's almost like, what are you really complaining about? But I think the party most hurt by the new CBA are the fans, and that's not a new talking point. But nobody has any freaking clue how it works.
Well, I would say even that I would take it a step further, Wes. When the cost of like Shea making $70 million and Booker making $75 million, that means ticket prices go up.
Mm-hmm.
That means your concessions go up. Like all of like the crazy money in the NBA, like whether it's the TV deals that then all of that, like you're correct. Like it's really hard to follow, but I think it's also like the wallet share and then becomes like an issue for fans. Like it's just going to become more expensive to follow along. It just is.
It's become more expensive to do everything.
It's crazy. And the NBA is like, it's absolutely like, it's a symptom of a broader issue, but it's like, it's there. It's absolutely there.
No, it is. And it's why these teams like Golden State have to move their arena from Oakland to San Francisco, right? Outside the financial district of San Francisco, because they needed, frankly, a different clientele to be at these games. They need to up the ticket prices, and they need to up all the prices for all of these things, and they need the money, but to pay for these teams and to pay for all these things. But yeah, whatever, man. It's like going to games are expensive now. It sucks, but like, I don't know. Everything's more expensive now. Movie theaters are more expensive. Like we complain about how expensive stuff is all the time. To me, it's just for a fan trying to follow the sport and figure out what's going on. There's just too, and this is not the first time I've shared this sentiment with you, Chris, but there's too many layers to the NBA now, and it's just so freaking hard to peel back all those layers and figure out what's actually freaking going on anymore between the CBA and the first apron and the second apron and the hard caps and all these different things and unrestricted free agency and restricted free agency, and then in the middle of the year you've got an in-season tournament that nobody understands, and you got 100 different jerseys for every team, and then you've got this play-in tournament thing. And now we're going into a league where I know that the TV rights and everything like that was a huge boon for the NBA, but okay, now like I used to be able to watch the NBA on ESPN and TNT and on my local channel. Now it's going to be my local channel, ESPN, Amazon Prime, NBC. I need League Pass for different games. Like it's now we've spread it everywhere now, and it's just becoming harder and harder to follow for a normal NBA fan. And then when the league complains, or people in the league kind of complain off the record, oh, nobody watches the games anymore, nobody follows it, they just watch it on social media and follow the clips. Yeah, because it's easy. It's way easier for me to just look up highlights of Bronny James and pretend he's good than actually have to figure out what channel to get to tune into a Lakers game and wonder why Bronny isn't playing, because I don't understand the salary cap or the fact that he's at the end of the roster or was a second, whatever it was. So
yeah,
end of rant. Sorry.
No to be sorry. I think you're right. Like I think the NBA is this is like, I think like a nexus, like a point. There's something going on here that I think what it looks like in a couple of years will give us, like, I think, much more clarity. I think would be when, I guess, like how this all actually sorts out. Obviously, time kind of tells you everything. I think the Draymond point to me brings full circle, like about free agency as we once knew it. I wonder if you asked Adam Silver if he thought, like, if he saw this coming, and B, like if he thinks this is a good thing, because like for all you could say about free agency and how like kind of nutty it could be, I think like the decision was like a spectacle. LeBron's decision was like I think tracking who Durant was meeting with in the Hamptons, I think was a thing. Obviously the Dallas Mavericks like in the Clippers trapping DeAndre Jordan in his house and like the emojis like to keep him was like a thing. The cupcakes were like all these things were really big moments. And now to your point, it is the trade deadline. But would you rather just have it be like would the league prefer to be free agency instead of trades?
So I thought it was really telling that ESPN, the league's preeminent partner, didn't have a show going the minute free agency started.
Yeah.
I thought that was very telling.
Yeah, because
like if you tuned into ESPN at whatever, it started at 5, 6 p.m., whatever it was. If you tuned into ESPN, you'd have no idea that there was free agency beginning. You'd have no idea. And they came back later on and had like a special, and that was fine, but not the minute it started. It didn't feel like an event at all. And that's the league's preeminent partner, right? They knew. They had an idea. Like, this isn't happening. Free agency isn't what it used to be. So whether or not Adam Silver likes it or not, I don't know, but I think he expected it this summer for sure. I think the league's partners expected it, and everything that you heard, I think a lot of people expected that. But Ethan Strauss had a good piece on his Substack this week about how this is exactly what Adam Silver wanted. Like, the league is a picture painted by Adam Silver now. He was the one that wanted parity. Talked about parity for years, and we haven't had a repeat champion since 2018, right? This is Adam Silver's NBA. He wanted that. He wanted parity. For right or wrong, and we don't have that maybe that's a separate episode, but that's what he wanted. He wanted the in-season tournament. He talked about it for years. He wanted the in-season tournament. He wanted the play-in tournament. All these things. He wanted the smoothed out lottery odds. He wanted the lottery.
By the way, really amazing thing with the in-season tournament is that the two winners, the Lakers and the Bucks, just has literally just it's like a curse. I really need like a good team to win it this year who can test this out.
Shout out Darvin Ham.
Shout out Doc Rivers. Got to add the Hall of Fame resume. In-season tournament champ.
Luckily those aren't series.
Lucky it's not game 7s.
But yeah, I think this is exactly what Adam Silver wanted. I think Adam Silver believes that this is a better version of the NBA than the one that existed when he took over.
League also just feels smarter now, as I think the other part of maybe about this. Like, I think the front offices broadly feel like smarter, more analytical now than they did like 5 years ago.
For a little bit, and then Joe Dumars showed up.
Well, Joe Dumars is just like one of one, man.
Look at what Sacramento and Phoenix is doing in Brooklyn, man. Like, there's plenty of bad front offices.
But like
we had a nice period of nirvana, and we were in the oasis, but there's a couple of teams out here in the desert right now.
I don't think anyone's as bad as their job in the NBA as Joe Dumars is. Like, I hear you.
It was immediate.
I don't think there's anyone. I think he's in his own. He's like S tier bad decision maker.
Yeah.
Except for the Herb Jones one, he's pretty solid. But it's like, are you going to need to trade him? What are you trading him for in like 6 months that were like what?
Mm-hmm. And Herb Jones was there when he got there, so it wasn't like.
Oh boy. Joe Dumars. I think we're gonna go every episode until the season starts, like mentioning Joe Dumars in some way would be my guess.
I'm fine with it. He deserves it.
I think you're right that it's worse than that Cooper Flagg. Right? Draymond Green on free agency. Summer League's here. Little programming note. We're off next week. I'm gonna be attending a wedding in Yellowstone. So I will be somewhere in the West and not around.
That's with the gummy bears?
Yes. So I'll be in the West. Will not be watching Summer League. Hopefully nothing happens. If honestly, Wes, if LeBron is coming back to Cleveland, it's gonna be when I'm like deep with no cell service, and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna get service back, and I'm gonna have about a bajillion texts.
You'll have service in Yellowstone, dude. You're not on Mars.
No, depending on how far you go, and you only get satellite service.
That's true. Well, what are you camping?
For a little bit of it, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I might just join a pack of wolves. Do
they have wolves there?
They do. And bison. A lot of animals in our
I've seen bison there. I've been to Yellowstone.
I've been to Yellowstone. Cool. Are you a national park guy?
No.
Okay, I didn't think
Absolutely
so.
not. I'm from Florida, dude. Our national park was the Everglades. I didn't get it. I was like, what are you talking? People like go to these things? Why would you go there? There's alligators there. It's terrifying.
Yeah,
no, that's definitely like a. And then I moved to California, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, we go to Yosemite all the time," and I'm like, "Why?" They're like, "Nature, dude." And I was like, "It's hot out." They're like,
you're
"No,
like,
you're in California. You're in Northern California. It's not that hot out." I
you're
was
like,
"Oh,
where
good
I'm
point."
from, there are animals that will eat you, like just all around, like, and you don't even
100%.
see. Yeah, it's just
And like, you go to
Florida.
the Everglades, and there's no like cute signs that tell you like the evolution of the alligator. Like you go to Yellowstone, and there's like things like
Yeah, I can't wait.
there's like education resources and
Well,
coffee shops and stuff, and
for now,
that doesn't exist in the Everglades, right? It's just alligators ate all of it. And so I just didn't understand. I didn't understand going into a national park.
alligators are like, fuck learning. We're eating all the resources. Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Yep.
It's just, gonna be honest. No disrespect to Florida. I've spent some good time in Florida. That just feels very Florida. That it's just like we have a bunch of gators, no education materials. That feels right.
That should be the slogan. Florida, a lot of alligators, no education materials. Sorry, they ate all of them.
That's right. All right, we'll be back the week after next. If LeBron's on the Cavs, I will be calling Wes like from my tent, and we'll do a pod. But unless something crazy happens, I'm Chris Manning, Wes Goldberg. Thanks to Dylan Heiser for his work on production. Talk to you guys soon.